Hey YouTube, Ed here with Jack of All Trades, and welcome to another video. So quite clearly today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the Case Farmall 25sc subcompact tractor. So let's get right into the video. And welcome back. So yes, today we're going to talk about the Farmall 25sc subcompact tractor. But before we do, as per the usual, I got to ask you to go down and hit that like and subscribe button down below. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you get notified of upcoming videos. And if you like what I'm doing out here on the Jack of All Trades channel, please make sure that you hit me up in those comments. Let me know, and I will do more videos just like this. Speaking of which, if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like to see, please let me know in those comments, and I will try my darndest to get it done. All right, so what have we got here today? We have got the Case Farmall 25sc subcompact tractor. This is the smallest tractor in the Case Farmall lineup. Case Farmall tractors go anywhere from 140 horse down to this 25 horse subcompact. They classify them in multiple different classifications like utility heavy, utility medium, utility light, compact, and then of course this tractor, which is their subcompact model. Obviously, this is the one we're going to talk about today. So what is the 25sc subcompact tractor? It is exactly what it is. It is a 25 horse subcompact tractor in that 20 to 25 horsepower range. And it is kind of designed for the hobby farm or somebody who's got something a little bigger than just an in-town yard. You can get these tractors equipped in multiple different configurations and forms. They quite obviously, you can get it with the 60-inch mower deck. You can quite obviously get it with a loader, but you can also get it with a backhoe. You can get it with a combination of all three of those things. You can also get them with a cab if you so desire. There's also quite a lineup of accessories that you can also put on this machine, i.e. a big snowblower. I believe it's a 50-inch that you can put on the front of this tractor. And along with that, you can also put a wide variety of attachments on the rear of the tractor, but we'll go over that a little later. All right, let's talk about some of the features of this tractor. Let's start off with the heartbeat of the tractor, which would be the engine. This tractor is powered by a 25 horse, 3-cylinder, naturally aspirated Yanmar engine. In reality, it's 24.7 horse. It is Tier 4 compliant, and it provides the power for obviously the hydrostatic system, the hydraulic system, the steering system. It provides a complete power for the tractor. Another neat feature about this tractor is it's actually 4-wheel drive, and it's a selectable 4-wheel drive. You can either shift from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive. Another neat feature about this tractor is, yes, it's hydrostatic drive, but it's a 2-speed hydrostatic drive. It's got a low range and it's got a high range. So when you're doing loader work or you're mowing the lawn or blowing snow or whatever it is you might be doing, you select the low range for actually working mode. And then if you're transporting from point A to point B, you can select the high range and you can cover some ground at speed. Now, quite obviously, this tractor is outfitted with a 60-inch mower deck, and it is outfitted with a L320 loader on the front. So let's talk a little bit about the loader itself. The loader has got about 1,000-pound capacity on it. And the neat part about this loader and this tractor is they actually match the loader and the front axle to each other. So the front axle's actually got a working capacity of 1,400 pounds, which exceeds the working capacity of the loader. Why is that important? Because one of the common problems in these subcompact tractors in all brands is the outer seals on the axles. They leak because people put too much stuff or too much pressure on the loaders, and those axles are the weak point in the system, and you'll end up with leaks in the outer seals on these front axles. So by matching the front axle capacity exceeding that of the loader, you're actually kind of overkilling your front axle, if you will. And that's not a bad thing in this situation. You want a nice heavy duty front axle. Another thing that you will notice on the front axle and on the rear axle is Case IH uses a 5-bolt lug. They don't use a 4-bolt lug. So that's a really nice feature. You've got some extra capacity there with that extra lug nut on there, or that extra bolt tying to your wheel to the front axle. Another feature of this tractor is quite obviously it's got a 3-point hitch on it. Now this 3-point hitch is just shy of 1,000 pounds worth of lift capacity, which again is a little bit more than the competition's lift capacity on this. It's also equipped with a rear PTO. This is a 540 RPM PTO, and it'll deliver about 17.2 horsepower to the rear PTO. So if you're running like a rear mounted rototiller or something like that, some kind of a brush mower or things like that, you've got plenty of power and lift capability here to carry that weight and to run that piece of equipment. Let's talk about the mower deck a little bit. This is a 60-inch heavy-duty mower deck. It is driven by a what's called a mid PTO or a mid-mounted PTO. That PTO is also shaft drive. It is not a belt drive PTO that is powering this deck. There is a belt that drives the pulleys, but that is the only belt on this machine. You have an actual drive shaft running to the PTO on it, and the mid-mounted PTO runs at about 2,500 RPM and is specifically designed to run the mower deck or a front-mounted snowblower if you so choose, or you live in a region where a snowblower is necessary. Neat thing about this deck is this is a pretty heavy-duty deck. So heavy-duty also means heavy. Kind of a fun thing is you can actually take the anti-scalping wheel here and you can turn it 90 degrees so that when you remove the deck for whatever reason, amount of snowblower, or just say you want to remove it for the season so you can do strictly loader work, you can take that anti-scalping wheel, turn it 90 degrees, and roll the deck right out from underneath it. It doesn't require you to drag it or lift it or anything like that. Makes it very simple to remove the deck from this tractor. Speaking of this deck belt, I want you to look at this deck belt. This is a double belt. It is one belt, but it's got double V grooves in it. This thing is heavy duty. This is not your dad's old riding lawnmower. This thing is designed to mow some grass. And I did mow the grass up here at my hunting cabin with this thing. And I'm telling you what, this tractor doesn't even grunt. You get into some of that tall grass and it just cuts. It doesn't even realize it's there. I cut my mowing time down from about 2.5 hours into about an hour and 15 minutes with this machine because I didn't have to slow down, and I'm cutting 5 feet at a crack. So it really made short work of my mowing. All right, let's talk about the operator station a little bit. And before I'm out the tractor, I just want to go ahead and discuss the seat. This is a really nice, comfortable high back seat. It's got armrests on both sides. It's got a full seat belt in it. The cushioning on this is very, very comfortable. But what I like about this the most is, aside from the fact that this is a fully adjustable from front to rear seat, when you watch the seat, it not only goes back, but it comes up at the same time. It's mounted on an incline. And they do that for a very specific reason. When you get a guy like me who's a little bigger, a little longer in the leg, not only do you need to come back away from the steering wheel, you also need to come up so that you're not sitting on this tractor with your head between your knees. That's a really nice feature for a big guy, and I'm really liking that. Sitting in the operator station, I'm very, very comfortable. Anybody who watches my channel knows that I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3". I've got a lot of leg, and comfort and size and room is really of great importance to me. I'm very, very comfortable. The steering wheel is in a great location. The handle for the loader operation is in a great location. The pedals for the hydrostatic drive, forward and back, very easy to get to. There's plenty of space in between the pedals for my size 13s to hit the pedals without interfering with the other one. The brake pedal on the other side is really nice and large. It's easy to find, very intuitive. In the short amount of time that I've been using this tractor, it has not taken me long to acclimate myself to the operator station. And I can pretty much run all the controls now without even looking because it's just so intuitive and they're just so clean and well laid out. Very impressed with that. So on the right side of the operator station here, we have some controls. We have our shifter to go from high to neutral and to low on the hydrostatic speed. We also have the control for our deck and 3-point lift right here. And then we have the shifter here for our 2-wheel drive and our 4-wheel drive. Now, interesting fact about the deck raise and lower. This one lever does do both the 3-point hitch and the deck, and it'll do it at the same time. However, if you want to isolate out the deck, say you're doing 3-point work, for example, and you want to completely isolate the deck and you don't want that deck to go up and down with your 3-point hitch, it's a very simple thing of reaching down here between your legs and setting the deck height adjustment to maximum height. If you set the deck height adjustment to maximum height and then push the lower handle, only the 3-point will go down. The deck may go down about 1/2 of an inch, but then it'll stop because it's at the maximum height setting. So now you're basically have isolated your deck and you're only running the 3-point for all intents and purposes to do 3-point work. So on the left side of the tractor, we have our PTO control. Now there's 3 settings on this PTO control. You've got a rear at the full forward position. Then in the middle position, you are running the rear and the mid PTO at the same time. And then full up, you are only running the deck PTO or the mid PTO. So there are 3 settings to this. Just depends on what application or what working you're doing. When I'm mowing lawn, I'm all the way back. I'm only running the mid-mounted PTO. If I want to do rear PTO work, I can select the middle or the bottom setting to do rear PTO work. Another interesting fact, this tractor has a safety feature on it, i.e., if you are in the middle setting, which is running the rear and the mid PTO at the same time, or you're in the full up setting, just running the mid PTO, even if you have the emergency brake set, if you exit the tractor will shut down. It's a safety feature because they don't want you getting your toes accidentally underneath the deck and cutting your toes off. So if you want to exit the tractor and leave it running, you must select rear PTO only. Otherwise, the tractor will shut itself down as a safety option. All right, moving to the front dashboard here, let's talk about the controls we have here. We quite obviously have the handle which operates the loader. This handle is very well marked. The neat thing about this loader is it's also got a float function on it, which a lot of these subcompact tractors do not have. If you are doing some leveling work or if you're doing some dirt work and you want to level out a spot in your yard and you just want to float the bucket, you just push the handle all the way forward. The bucket will go into float mode and it'll basically follow the contours of the ground and move up and down as it needs to get that fine-tuned leveling that you might do with loader work. Another thing we've got here is your throttle control. It's right here. It's just like every other one. Forward is fast, back is slow, very well labeled, very easily marked, very intuitive to find. You have your PTO control right here. To operate your PTO, you have to push down and turn it clockwise and then release it. That turns your PTO on. Make sure you push down before you turn it to engage your PTO or you're going to break the knob off. Then when you want to disengage it, just push it and it automatically will revert itself to the off position. Right here we have a switch. This is your cruise control switch. And before you laugh too much, if you've never had a tractor with cruise control, you don't know what you're missing. My riding lawnmower at home has a cruise control. The riding lawnmower I have up here at my cabin that I typically mow the lawn with has cruise control. And I use it all the time and it helps to reduce that fatigue when you're mowing large yards. The difference with this cruise control is this is not a mechanical cruise control. There's not a bunch of linkages and all kinds of business like that actually engages the pedals. This is an electronic activated cruise control system. So when you push the switch up to activate the cruise control, it's electronic. Now you can actually, the way to operate it is you push on the forward pedal, you get to the speed you want, you push on the top of the rocker switch, you can actually feel a bit of a click or a little bit of a click, for lack of a better term, in the pedal. You know the cruise control is engaged at that time. There's also going to be an indicator on the dashboard that lets you know that the cruise control is activated. Then to disengage the cruise control, unlike the mechanicals, hitting the go pedals will do nothing for you. You have to hit the brake to disengage the cruise control on this because it is an electronic. It's just like operating your car. Same thing with your car. You have to hit the brake pedal on your car to disengage the cruise control. Additionally, just like your car, the other way to disengage it is to physically turn it off by hitting the bottom of the rocker switch. That will also disengage your cruise control. Over here we have our ignition system, our key switch. It took me a little bit to figure out where the glow plug setting was, and it's actually 1 notch counterclockwise to turn your glow plugs on if you're turning them on in cold weather. You turn the key counterclockwise. You have to hold it because it's spring loaded. There will be an indicator on the dash that tells you your glow plugs are heating, and you give it a few seconds depending on how cold it is, and then you go ahead and start the tractor, and your glow plugs should warm the engine up sufficiently to start the tractor in colder weather. Here you have your lever for your parking brake. This is just like the parking brake on any other tractor. You have to depress the brake, pull up on this lever, and then release the brake, and your parking brake is engaged. And quite obviously right here you have your dashboard, and I really do apologize for the glare. There's just not much I can do about it. but you have a liquid crystal display in the middle, which will display your engine RPMs and your tractor time or hours on the machine. You have two analog gauges. One is for your fuel capacity and one is for your engine temperature. And then you've got various lights and indicators on the dash as well, for such as glow plugs, whether the PTO is engaged, whether you've got your parking brake engaged, oil pressure lights, things of that effect are put into idiot lights on the dashboard. The final control I want to talk about on the dashboard is your light control. Now, right here you have a stick that's actually your turn signals. Up turns on your right, down turns on your left. In the middle here you have a knob. You turn that knob to the first position, it gives you your flashers. You turn that knob to the second position, it gives you low beam headlights. You turn the knob to the third position, it gives you high beam headlights, and it turns your flashers on all at the same time. So those are the light controls that you have for the tractor. Moving it all the way back counterclockwise again turns all the lights off. Additionally, they've got some nice little accoutrements on these tractors, which are really nice to have. You've got nice oversized grab handles on here so you can grab onto these things when you're exiting and entering the tractor. You've got USB power port right here that you can use to plug in cell phone or whatever it is that you might want to power while you're doing your tractor work. You've got a cup holder here for a nice cold beverage of whatever your choosing might be. It's nice to have a cup holder there, or your Yeti thermos mug for your hot coffee or hot chocolate, whatever it is you might want to be putting in there. On this side of the tractor, you have yet another nice large oversized grab handle to hang on to. I find that these are very handy when you might be mowing on a bit of an incline. It just, you can hang on to it, gives you a little bit of extra stability. And then you've got your fuel filler right here. It's a really nice big cap. It's easy to get to. There's no problems getting to the fuel here. You can fuel right out of a can, or if you can fuel right out of a pump, whatever it is that you may or may not have. Now, quite obviously, this tractor that I have here is equipped with a ROPS, or a rollover protection system on it. The nice thing about this ROPS bar is it's actually foldable. And why is that a good thing? Well, if you've only got a 7-foot garage door and you've got this ROPS bar all the way in the up position, you're not going to be able to get it into the garage. So then you can fold it down and you can actually get it into the garage. It's held in place with 2 pins, which I have right here. We're just going to leave those out. The thing to know about ROPS bars is do not modify these ROPS bars in any way, shape, or form. These bars are specifically engineered to provide protection for rollover. So don't be drilling, don't be cutting, don't be welding stuff onto them. Leave the ROPS bar alone. If you do want to add additional lights or beacons or whatever to your ROPS bar, they do put these nice little convenient mounting points on here. Zip tie loops here if you want to run cables or whatever. There's a mounting point over here that you can use to mount extra lights or stereo speakers or whatever it is you might think that you want to put on this tractor. But please, whatever you do, do not modify the ROPS bar in any way, shape, or form. Now let's talk a little bit about the quality and the engineering that goes into these tractors. And the first thing that I want to address with you is this hood. Let's take a listen to this. That's metal. That's not plastic. These tractors are built really nicely. They do a really nice job of building these things, and they put some extra strength and durability in the places that they need it. Now the side panels admittedly are plastic, as are everybody else's, but they put more metal in these tractors to increase the weight, to increase the durability. The other nice thing about this tractor is you can reach almost everything that you need to get to on this right from the top hood. You can get to the air filter, you can check the oil, you can pull out the radiator screen, which is right here, to clean out the dust and the debris. It's all accessible right here. The only time you should ever really need to take the side panels off is if you're doing service work or if you're changing oil or things of that effect. You can access all the important stuff just by popping the hood. Talk a little bit about the loader. This L320S loader, this thing is heavy. When you take this loader off, I can't move it. I mean, this thing is stout and beefy. It'd take 3 men and a small boy to move this thing around without the tractor. So this is a nice heavy-duty loader, very nicely built. I'm very impressed with it. And the thing that I'm impressed the most about it is how easy it comes off. You pull these pins completely out of the system. You manipulate the joystick handle to run the loader. The loader comes right off of the mounting posts, and you can back away. Then you unhook the hydraulics, and you can completely back out of here. Hooking it up is just exactly the same. And the really neat thing about hooking it up is you can do all of that right from the operator station. The only thing that you really need to do that requires you to get off the operator station is to go ahead and flip the kickstands down or up to support the loader when it is off the tractor. So it is super simple to remove this loader. I can have this loader off in less than 5 minutes. So why is being able to remove the loader important? Well, I'm here to tell you that if you're mowing lawn with this thing, and I don't care how big your yard is, you're going to want to take that loader off. Mowing the lawn with that loader sticking out there in front of the tractor, yeah, you can do it, but you're just asking for trouble. That just seems like a really good way to run into things that you weren't really intending on running to, like your wife's car, the kids' playhouse, something like that. I would think you would just want to take that loader off when you're doing your lawn mowing exercises just to make things a little easier, because this tractor is actually quite maneuverable. With the power steering system that it's got, you've got about a 54.5 degree turning radius on here. So for a larger tractor, this thing's actually pretty nimble. It's pretty impressive, the corners that you can go around with this thing. Now, I can't get around smaller trees super tight, but with the hydrostatic, just switching the pedals to back up and kind of work yourself around the trees, it didn't take me long to figure that out. And the other nice thing about this is when you are mowing, there isn't some series of buttons that you have to push to back up while the PTO is engaged while you're mowing. So you can just shift from forward to reverse with the moving of your foot, and you don't have to worry about the mower deck disengaging or the tractor shutting down because you're going in reverse while you're mowing. That being said, make sure that if you do have the mower deck engaged and you are going in reverse, you're looking where you're going. You would hate to run over one of your kids or the neighbor's cat or something like that while you're mowing the lawn in reverse for whatever reason. So just make sure you're cognizant of the fact of what's behind you while you're backing up and you have your mower deck engaged. And for that matter, just make sure you're cognizant of what's behind you when you're going reverse, regardless of what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about the hydraulics on this system. Now, for a small tractor, this thing's actually got some pretty beefy hydraulics. It's about 7 gallons per minute, just a little bit shy of that at 1780 psi. But the neat thing about this is this machine actually has power steering. And when I say it's got power steering, that's no joke. You can literally turn the wheel with one finger. The nice thing is the power steering is not leaching hydraulics off the primary system. It's got its own pump. So when the hydraulic power steering is being used, you're not taking anything away from your loader or your hydrostats or anything like that. The steering system has got its own hydraulics to it, which is really, really nice. But for a small tractor, this has got some pretty stout hydraulics to it. The other question I can foresee asking a lot of people asking me about is when you're operating the lower, can you lift and curl all at the same time? You can 45 degree the handle and lift and curl at the same time, but it is not a true multifunction remote. You're just kind of splitting the remote and you're kind of splitting the spools inside of the remote to make them do what they need to do. But yes, you can lift and curl at the same time, but it's not a true multifunction remote system. And I know a lot of people are going to ask me that, but you can do both at the same time. Just don't expect the same kind of lifting capacity when you're trying to curl at the same time, because you are robbing hydraulics from one function to help operate the other one. And that's just not the way the system is set up. So while we're talking about the loader, let's talk about the bucket and attachment and the accessory attachment onto the loader. Now, unlike some of the competition out there, which has pins and things like that you have to remove, that's not the case with this one. This loader has got a attachment plate on the front, which is basically a universal skid steer mount. It runs just like your skid steer does. You activate these two levers. You can remove the bucket, you can drive away, and then you can come back later and pick it back up again, reactivate those two levers, and you're running in gold, and you can hook up anything you want. Now, one of the accessories that I do have coming for this tractor is a set of pallet forks. Understand this loader has only got about 1,000 pounds worth of lift capacity at the lifting pins. So if you get yourself a set of pallet forks and they weigh 450 pounds, you're reducing your effective usable weight on this tractor. So make sure that when you buy things like pallet forks, you're cognizant of the weight on it. I did find an aftermarket set of pallet jacks. They run right around that 250 pound-ish range, which will bolt or fit right onto the skid steer plate. and they're not so heavy that it'll make the loader useless because I'm taking up all my weight capacity with pallet forks. So finally, let's talk a little bit about warranty on this. This has got 6 years worth of warranty on it. It's basically 2 years bumper to bumper, and then it's got an additional 48 months worth of powertrain warranty on it. So for 6 years, I've got all of the big stuff covered. If I have an engine failure, if my hydrostat goes out or something like that, for 6 years, I've got this thing covered. For 2 years, I've got everything covered from front to back. What I also like about this machine is the extensive dealer network that you have with Case products. There is a Case dealer in many locations across the US and actually around the world. Whereas with other tractors, some of the less known brands, the Coyotes and things like that, good luck finding a dealer out there. You're going to end up doing a lot of work yourself because a dealer network just isn't there to support you. Whereas with this tractor, you've got a Case dealer right around the corner in many cases. They are located all across the country very conveniently, and they have excellent top-notch service departments. Their technicians are trained by Case IH. They know what they're doing, and they know how to fix these machines. All right, so I've only had this tractor for a few days now, and what are my overall impressions of it? I mean, this thing's legit. This is not an oversized lawnmower. Absolutely not. This is a legit heavy duty 25 horse tractor. Now, admittedly, you're not going to be farming acres and acres of fields with this thing. This is for the hobby farmer, somebody who's got some horses, got some chickens, needs to be able to do some farm work, things like that. You have a larger yard or a homestead, and you're needing a tractor that is not too huge, that is hard to store and hard to maintain and expensive, yet big enough to get some work done. The loader, very, very handy with the loader. I've used the loader a couple of times now to level out some dirt in my yard. I've used the loader to haul some wood around. It's very handy, very convenient for that. And the first day that I had this tractor, I actually used the loader to lift shingles high enough so that I could roof the new entryway that I put on my front cabin. I've used the loader a lot more than I thought I would, to be completely honest with you. What you're not going to do with this loader is you're not going to dig a basement for a house. That's not what it's designed for. It's only a 50-inch wide loader bucket, and it's got right around 1,000 pounds worth of capacity on it. And I'm here to tell you, if you fill the bucket up with gravel, you're going to have some weight on the front there. And if you hit the brakes too hard without some weight on the back end of the tractor is going to come up a little bit. So if you're going to do a lot of loader work, I would highly recommend getting a weight kit for the back, something that you can put on the 3-point, maybe fill the rear tires with fluid. If you're going to be doing a lot of loader work, that could be very, very handy and useful for you. And the beauty of it is when I'm not using the loader, in 5 minutes I can have it removed. I can be storing it in the corner of my shed, and I can forget about it until I need it again. Overall impressions of the machine are very, very good. It mows exceedingly well. It's got great power. The controls are very intuitive. The pedals, everything about it is really, really nice. I'm really happy with it. Super easy to operate and function. It literally only took me about a half a day worth of just periodic random operating just to kind of get myself acclimated with the tractor. And now, as it stands, I can operate this machine and I can go down and I can reach all these controls, find the handles, find everything that I need to find. And I don't even have to look. I know where it is. I know how to operate it. It took me very little time to understand how this machine works. So as it stands right now, the Case IH Farmall 25sc, I'm really liking this tractor. I really, truly am. It is a great tractor. It works really well. It's doing everything that I want it to do and then some. I've used it for things that I didn't even realize that I needed it for. Very, very handy tractor. Small enough where it's easy to store, but yet large enough where I can get some work done that really needs to be done and would be much more difficult without it. So I guess that pretty much wraps up the video for this week. Now, if you got any questions or if there's anything you want to know about this tractor, go ahead and just let me know in those comments down below, and I'll certainly get the answers for you. But the Case IH Farmall 25sc, it's more than just a lawnmower. It's a legitimate piece of working equipment that I'm very, very glad that I've got. With that, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Now, as always, thank you to my longtime subscribers. I want to say thanks to everybody who watches this channel, everybody who subscribes to this channel and supports me. That's the only way I ever ask for support. I don't have Patreon. I don't ever ask you for money, and I never send you an email. I just ask you to go down, hit that like and subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and hit me with those comments. With that, this is Ed from Jack of All Trades. As always, thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next video.